we here? Are we live? It appears to be. Okay, I'm going to send out a link real quick just so people know I'm on in case they're interested in coming by. Trying to wake up a little bit still. I know this is exciting. It's good streaming content. There. All right. How's it going, everybody? So this is obviously a couple days later than usual because I went to Phoenix Fan Fusion Saturday, which is Phoenix, Arizona's local Comic-Con. I had not planned on doing the con this year. I was going to take the year off. I didn't have a great 2009. Last con I went to was 2019, pre-plague. It went fine. I've always made money. I've never lost money on a con. Maybe I haven't always made money, but I've never lost money. And 2019 was the same, but it just, I don't know, I just wasn't really feeling it that year. I felt like it was drifting towards being more movie-oriented, celebrity-oriented, all that kind of stuff. And that's right, Sal. Frank, always working. And that's me. By the way, I need to make you a mod so if and when Squatch shows up to these, you can just boot him right off the bat. Like as soon as I get any kind of, mouth from him, just give him the boot. Who needs it? Okay, so anyway, and in fact, actually, Frank, if you, hey, how's it going, man? Frank, if you would want to pop on, let me know. I can send you a link. Yeah, that was my experience of especially Phoenix Fan Fusion and especially in 2019. The last one was, I just felt like it wasn't an indie scene. It wasn't a scene for indie comics anymore. And there were so many booths spread out over so much real estate that the odds that anyone was even going to walk by your booth to consider buying your thing, much less buy it, were slim to none. Like I felt like most of the sales I was getting were people that I was driving there, like by promote. And it was a lot of people that I had gotten a message to. In terms of just like randos buying D versus M, there were some. Like I said, I ended up making money in 2019, but it just seemed like it wasn't as good as a lot of past years. So a little bit like Scott Circland, who I think had a similar experience at PFF. We were kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to do this again. And that was the plan. But then two friends of mine came to town, Keith Foster and Scott Lost, which in the upload of this, I'll put their information in the description so you can check them out. They're great creators, great buddies. And I had a blast with them. They came to town and they were like, hey, are you going to be at the con? And I said, probably not. And they said, we have space, like come squeeze in with us for a day. Like just, and that's kind of hard to resist. Just to be able to go and just pop in for one day, sharing, like, with someone at someone else's table. Like it's just the math gets all different. It's like, well, I'll try that. Sure. So I worked ahead last week drawing to make sure I could take the day off Saturday. Frank, by the way, when I get done with my sort of catch up, I'll send you a link. Got all caught up so I could take the day off Saturday, and it was minimal. Like my table space was literally about this wide, just wide enough to put like D versus M 1975, D versus M 1997, and some business cards and a little sign. Like that was it. It was just very small. I had done almost no promotion. I didn't tell anybody I was going to be there. And in a way, it was going to be like sort of an interesting experiment for me just to see like, how does it go if you just, I don't want to say phone it in, but if you just sort of show up and put your wares out and just see what happens with like, without going really crazy with like signage and space and multiple levels of merch. And like, I got the buttons, I got the stickers, I got, like if it's just like, I'm just selling books, the little sign, I'm not in the listing because it's their booth. Like, it's just like if people are walking by, like, how do I do? And I actually did pretty well. I was surprised because I was really, again, and I always say this, but really, I was braced to sell 0 comics, just because of the scenario. And I ended up selling not a ton, but I sold, I don't know, like 6 or 8 or something like that, which is great. Especially given the scenario I've painted. And not only that, the guys I was with, Keith and Scott, they did phenomenally all weekend long. Like they murdered it. I don't, why? I think Phoenix Fan Fusion made some changes that for the better. I think in 2019, the con was spread over different floors and different sections of the building, and you could have someone go up to the con and not even realize where the Artist Alley people were, and just like they saw every other part of the con, they thought they saw everything, and they get home and they never actually walked Artist Alley. I think it was less celebrity and Hollywood oriented, which was good. And I have no evidence for this, but my impression was that there was a lot of pent up demand for comics and the convention experience, and particularly indie comics. We had at least one guy who came by the table when I was there that day who bought every book we had on offer, both of mine, all of Keith's, all of Scott's. Like, and he said flat out, like, it's a comic convention. I want to buy comics. And I don't care about Marvel and DC anymore. I want to read indie comics. And that's what he was going around. And what's funny is you would think comic convention, like, oh, that guy's going to spend thousands of dollars. No, because it's all anime. It's all like people doing prints, fan art prints. It's always like, it's all like, people in cosplay. Like the actual number of indie creators there selling a comic book is surprisingly low for a comic con. So this, and that's what this guy wanted. And that's what this guy was spending on. And then I guess Sunday, that like yesterday, I wasn't there. Some other guy did the same thing, came by and bought everything. Like every kind of book you have, like I want all of them, and tipped them. Tipped like that. So that to me, like, I have to admit, made me think like, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't give up on the cons just yet. Like this is what I wanted in the past. Now I feel like that audience, like it's like we did the hard reset. We shut everything down for Plague, turned it back on, and when it rebooted, you had like people who like comic books going to Comic-Con. Who'd have thunk it? So, I'm definitely down for now next year. And next year is going to be perfect for me because D vs. M 1979 will be done. And it will have been done for a little while where I will be ready to do a pulp variant of D vs. M 1979. And that sounds to me like a Phoenix Fan Fusion 2023 exclusive, like just I'll do the pulp variant. I talked to Keith and Scott, and we nothing's official yet, but we've talked about like, why don't we go in on like 2 Artist Alley tables and split it 3 ways? So like, we're not having to, just like, how do we minimize all the overhead? So it makes it easier just to make your money back and then start making money. So that would be one way. And then I offered, it's like, you guys can crash here. Like, don't do an Airbnb or whatever, like crash here, save money on that. Like, how can we leverage this so like we all have maximum odds? But yeah, next year I'll have 3 comics to sell. Might have an exclusive cover for the con. I feel like it's weird. It shows that I just don't totally give up on things when I feel like, no, this sucks. Like, I had one day of a moderately good con experience with a minimal effort and realized like, no, there's still something here. There's something here. There's some possibility here. And it was just enough to kind of keep me like, okay, maybe there's something, because I sold some books to people I didn't know, just complete strangers who I made the pitch to, and they liked it, bought it. I've had a few people already on Instagram message me back saying like, I just read the comic, I loved it, whatever. And that's like, get a couple new followers, couple new fans. And it's like, well, okay, I guess maybe I'll give it another shot. So anyway, that was Saturday. I am exhausted though. My voice, I don't know if you can hear it, is shot just from like talking and pitching all day. And then I feel like an old man because mostly standing. It was 3 of us crowded into like basically a corner space where there were chairs, but you don't really have room to sit down. So mostly like we unfolded one of the folding chairs and we would take turns if you needed to sit, like use this chair, but mostly you stood all day. So like we all like driving home that night, we're like, oh my God, my feet, my back, like all that stuff. Anyway, finished up, went and got some awesome burritos, went back to their Airbnb, recorded a podcast for them. So I'll promote that when it's up, but we did a podcast. I appeared on their podcast, which I've done a couple times before. It's always fun talking to them. It's Making Comics. If you're looking for a making comic related podcast, it's Making Comics. It's everywhere you can find a podcast. I'll be on probably, I forgot how much of a lead time they have. They have new ones every Monday, so there's probably a new one today, but mine will probably be at soonest a week from today. I think 2 weeks. I forgot what their lag is. And then we watched the first 2 episodes of Kenobi, which I thought I would want to talk about a lot today, and I don't know if I want to, but we'll get more into that later. So I'm going to start sending out some links and see if people, like if Frank still wants to pop in, and I'm going to get to doing a little bit of work. So hold on just 1 second. Let me get Frank here. Link away. So in terms of DRZM 1979, yeah, you got to be careful. Like, look, I think as the gambler wisely observed once, Kenny Rogers, you got to know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. Quitting isn't a across the board universally bad thing. Like sometimes it's smart to know when to cut your losses and know when it's like, this is, you got to know when you're riding the horse and when you're being dragged by it, but you also have to be very judicious about that. You have to, because like, as you say, and like doing nothing is always easier than doing something. And you have to be careful. You have to really be sensitive to like, why do I not want to do this? Do I not want to do this for all the right reasons? Or do I not want to do this for all the wrong reasons? It's not technically quitting, but like you and I'm sure if you're a certain age, we all know somebody who's hung in with a relationship or a marriage or something too long. That's a disaster. bad for everyone involved. But when it's like, I'm not going to quit on this, that's bad. Like, like that's not, no, there's good quitting. There's a good, you can, it would be okay, but they have this weird mentality of like, no, it's giving up. It's giving up. It's not giving up. It's no. Again, are you riding the horse or are you being dragged by it? Mr. Frank.
Hello.
How's it going, man?
Good. Working on an illustration.
Good. I'm about to open my current page. I'm working on page 16. I'm on track because I worked ahead in anticipation of Phoenix Fan Fusion. So I'm right about where I would have been if I hadn't gone at all. So that's good.
Okay. Squatch will be glad to hear that.
He still won't be satisfied because I've been talking about Phoenix Fan Fusion this whole time. He's never satisfied. It's a problem.
He's never happy. So did you meet up with Scott Strickland?
I did, yes. He came by the booth, and I was right in the middle of like talking to a customer. It was pretty crazy. It was like a ton of foot traffic and very busy. Wow. So like I saw him there and we kind of like smiled at each other and I was, it was hard to talk to him. So he was like, I'll come back. What's that?
Across the room.
Across the room. Our eyes met. And he I'm sorry, I'm getting oriented on my page here. He's like, I'll come back later. And then I had a gap. So I was like, well, I'm going to walk over and find the Surprise Comics booth. And found him. He was doing a commission. So it seemed like it'll be interesting to, maybe by chance he'll pop in today, or I'll be interested to follow up with him offline, how it ended up going for him. Because he did, I think, all 3 days. I just did the one. So.
Yeah, I know he was posting on Facebook while he was there. He was posting like the covers he was doing.
Yeah. So they turned out great too.
Yeah,
they look good. So in terms of, are you a Disney Plus survivor? Or subscriber. Boy, that was a Freudian slip right there. Have you survived?
I survived the merge. And,
Are you hanging in there with Disney Plus?
No, I never subscribe, but when I go see my kids in Corpus, I stay at one of their aunts, and she has Disney Plus. So when I'm there, I try to catch up on stuff. So, okay. But I hear about Kenobi, and I found a place where I can watch it. I don't know if it's legal, but I haven't watched it.
So then I would say don't get into the details. Yeah. Yeah, I thought, I don't know, when I was talking about this earlier this week, I imagined I would have a lot of like, I'd want to really talk about Kenobi. And I don't know if I do really, only because I feel like I need to rewatch the first 2 episodes because it was a long day. Like I didn't sleep well the night before. Anytime I have like a big day, like I don't sleep great. Like I just imagine, like I'm worried about oversleeping. I'm worried about, I'm thinking about the day. And so like it was the night before the con was it was one of those nights where you're waking up every 3 hours, kind of like, what time is it? And then like with an hour to go, now you're exhausted. Now you really want to sleep. So it's hard to get out of bed. And so I went into the con with not great sleep and then did like 8 or 9 hours on the floor. And then, we went and like you pack up the booth and you go and you get something to eat. And then we recorded the podcast. And by the time that was all done, it's like, okay, now let's watch Kenobi. I was zapped. And I don't know if I was in totally the right headspace for it. I don't, and so that as a result, I was kind of like my reaction to the shows were kind of like, meh, like I
Yeah.
don't know, and I can't tell if like was it meh or was I not in the right mood or is there some what like I can't so I just kind of I don't know. So if my one word review of Kenobi 1 and 2 pending review is kind of like but I'm gonna rewatch. I'm gonna give it another chance and I'm gonna see like
Okay.
maybe I don't know, maybe like I said, maybe I was too zapped and I couldn't really appreciate it. But
Yeah, I know that's happened to me before where I'll watch something, but if I'm not in the right headspace, that ruins the experience, and then like, the movie wasn't that great, and I don't want to rewatch it.
yeah.
But like, well, it might have just been me at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
And that's why like I'm withholding judgment for now. I feel like and I afterward we talked about it, the guys I watched it with. And I, expressed like I don't understand why they did this and this didn't quite work for me and whatever. Maybe I'll still feel the same way, and like maybe I'll watch it again and it's like, yeah, no, that doesn't work. Or it would have been better if they did it like this. I'm also there is an element. Look, I consider myself a big Star Wars fan. And like a lot of Star Wars fans, I'm sort of endlessly frustrated with Star Wars. And I'm not immune to the irony of that. Like I'm kind of tired of hearing myself complain about Star Wars. Like I'm just
yeah,
sort of over it. Like I'm really at the point where and we'll see if this pans out. But I really do feel like I'm at the point where there is a particular like oh, this is painful for me to say. I hope this is a safe space, Frank. Uh,
okay.
maybe I'm
I'm
not a
listening.
Star Wars fan. Maybe I'm kind of an original trilogy fan.
Okay.
And maybe I should just be content with that. Like I'll always have the original trilogy. I love things about the original trilogy that they're just not doing or making anymore. And
Yeah.
that's fine. Whatever they're doing now with Star Wars, it's not for me. And leave it to the new fans. There's a lot of people who love it. There's a lot of people who eat up that Clone Wars thing, which I find almost unwatchable. but people love it. It's like, all right, that's not what I'm into Star Wars for, though. So like, and it could be like I'm almost at the point where it's like maybe I'm just done. Like maybe I'm fine. Maybe I can just rewatch
Yeah.
Empire whenever I'm itching for Star Wars, or the second greatest Star Wars movie of all time, Last Jedi. But just to trigger everybody out there, but there's bits and pieces of Star Wars that I really like, but I find the vast majority of it now is just not interesting to me, and it's for some audience that I'm not a part of. Like I don't care. I'm not saying I hate it, and I'm trying to stay away from that militant nerd thing where it's like it's wrong, they're doing it wrong. Like I don't
Yeah.
want to do that. That's kind of lame. But I also like so we watched Kenobi, and afterward I was saying like I would have preferred it if they did like this and kind of illustrated like how I thought maybe that first and second episode could have gone.
Yeah.
And while I was saying it, even though I strongly believe like I would have enjoyed it more if they handled it like this, I also hated myself for being that fucking guy on the internet saying like this is what they should be doing with Star Wars, and like I'm tired of reading that. So therefore, I'm also tired of being one of those guys. So
Yeah.
I guess that is also my second. My first take on Kenobi is meh. My second take on Kenobi is like I don't think it's what I want out of a Star Wars. So, but we'll see. I'm going to give it a second chance. And there's a lot of episodes left. Maybe it'll get better. Maybe it'll get worse. I don't know.
Yeah.
But would you consider yourself a Star Wars fan? Do you
Yeah, I haven't like caught up with all the newer stuff, but definitely original trilogy, and I did like some of the prequels. What's the one? The Phantom Menace grew on me after a few years.
same.
Uh,
People think I'm insane. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people. I think Phantom Menace is for sure the best of those prequel movies. Like and I will go down fighting on that, but
Yeah, like it sets up some things, and most of them
yeah.
do pay off. It was just weird that Anakin aged up, but Padme stayed the same. So
Yeah, I think again, like even though I just came off the heels of saying like I'm tired of rewriting Star Wars, but I would have liked Anakin older. I think it would have worked better. He didn't have to
yeah,
be grown, but like maybe 14 instead of 9 or whatever he is. Like, I mean,
yeah, yeah.
a little
Like
bit
if they had gone Hayden Christensen from the beginning, from that
Yeah, maybe. And then
moment.
like wait, like if you need him older, like just shoot it and wait a little bit,
Yeah,
let him age up. I don't know. Yeah, I think the age of Anakin is maybe the biggest weak link in Phantom Menace.
yeah,
Uh, but what can you do, I guess?
yeah. Even though I still enjoyed it. Like
Yeah. Yeah, I think it
the
has,
efforts.
of all of them, none of the prequels I think are great. And I think any, and I don't think this is controversial, but you're finding a lot of weird prequel apologists now who are going back because they didn't like the Disney movies and they're saying like the prequels were actually not that bad, which I don't know what they're talking about. Like I think that's kind of just like an edgelord take. Like they were pretty bad, and the Disney movies I think are generally better than the prequel movies. But I think all the prequel movies, as much as I did not like them, had something. Like they each had like a bit or a piece or a chunk that was like there's something there. That's all right. Like I can go like that's not too bad. I think that's what I found frustrating about the prequels is like there's moments there, and if you kind of see the Matrix, you can sort of see like there was a good movie in here, and they just didn't execute it right. Like it could have been great, but for all sorts of different reasons, it just was not, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I think they all could have benefited from the Disney thing made the same error, not writing out all 3 movies uh, from the start.
Yeah,
Like this kind of fly by the seat of your pants, like do a movie and now like, oh shit, we have 6 months to write a new script.
yeah,
That's crazy talk. Like you're like, there's no way that's not going to be some kind of a train wreck, because no one's collaborating, no one's got a vision, like no one's like kind of focusing this thing. It's all just like you're yes-anding the biggest property in movie history, which is insane to me. It's like let's just make it, and then we're like, okay, now what? And you're just coming up with something like that's madness. What are your thoughts on the Indiana Jones trilogy? I love the original trilogy. I didn't care for the 4th one.
yeah. See,
I guess just quick hot take: Raiders of the Lost Ark is still like almost perfect. Like I just don't. There's almost nothing I would want to do to change any part of that movie. Like it's just perfect. It's delightful and amazing and fun. And anytime I've happened to catch it, like you just sit and watch the whole thing. It's just great. And it just never stops. That's something I kind of always forget about Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like once you're going, there's no place to take a break, really. Like it just goes all the way to the end. Temple of Doom is I kind of have a love-hate. Like it, and even George Lucas and Steven Spielberg later were like, it's a little dark, and we're sort of embarrassed of that one. I think they were both going through divorces at the time or something. And it was like a weird, like, and it has this kind of like ugly, cynical quality to it. It is also, I think it's probably aged the most poorly because it has a lot of the look at the brown people eating the weird things. You know,
Oh,
like
okay.
it kind of got like it's kind of an icky throwbacky, like, look at the weird natives doing weird native things.
Yeah.
But it also has some really good parts too. Last Crusade is also really charming. It's kind of a remake of Raiders. It's like they went back to the formula, but you forgive it because Sean Connery and Harrison Ford together are just so great. You know, it's like I'll allow it. That's fine. You know, but I love. I mean, I would probably rank them as Raiders first, Last Crusade second, Temple of Doom third. Temple of Doom does have like one of the best little Indiana Jones romantic moments, though, where I can't remember the female character's name in Temple of Doom. Is it Winnie or something? Or I don't even remember. Anyway, Steven Spielberg's wife.
Okay.
She's telling Indiana Jones while he's in a very manly Indiana Jones way, just like munching an apple, how sometimes she only sleeps in her pearls. And she asks if that shocks him. And he just, without missing a beat, he's like, nothing shocks me. I'm a scientist. And goes back to eating his apple. And it just is like this like cool, perfect Indiana Jones. Like that's what it's all about right there. But so it has its moments. I don't need the kid partner, like short round. Like, I don't know. Like, it's like he's endangering this kid, dragging him along to all his super dangerous. Like, I never thought that was cute or fun. Like, I was like, why is this kid here? Why isn't Indiana Jones being responsible and saying, like, stay home?
Yeah. Wasn't he his driver or something?
Yeah, like why does he have this kid as a driver? Like it's kind of baffling. But
Dr. Jones. I like it has the most iconic action scene at the boulder. The
Raiders.
track. Was that in? Was
Raiders?
that in?
Yeah, Raiders had the boulder
Temple?
chasing him out of the.
Oh, Raiders. I was thinking
Yeah.
it was Temple of Doom.
And I like the observation. You see it more and more often now that, and I think sometimes bring it up like it's some sort of critique of the movie, and I don't think it is at all. But that the problem, I don't agree with Raiders of the Lost Ark, is that Indiana Jones is totally ineffectual as like a protagonist. Like if you remove him from the movie, it all happens exactly the same way. Like he doesn't change the board at all. He doesn't move any of the pieces around at all in a really meaningfully. Like had he not existed, the Nazis would have found the Ark. They would have gone to the island so Belloc could see if the tablets were still in there. They would have done the ceremony, and like the weird Ark magic would have killed all the Nazis. The end, So, and it's like, and that's all what happened. I don't know if that, to me, that's like trying to find fault in a perfect movie. Like, what difference does it make? Yeah. It's this weird kind of rule, like, no, the protagonist has to move the plot in some way. I don't know about that. I don't know. Really? Does he? But anyway.
Yeah, so those things just happen.
Yeah.
Happens to be there. He was the witness.
Yeah, exactly.
He's able to tell the story, like, well, this is
and if nothing else, it's how the Ark ended up in some top secret facility in the United States, if not for him. Because if he wasn't there, the Ark would still be sitting on an island, I guess, with a bunch of dead Nazis. Unless they had radioed where they were. But it seemed like that was a little bit of a surreptitious stop. Like that wasn't approved. That wasn't on the up and up. So maybe like that Nazi group would have just gone missing and no one would ever know where the Ark was. But,
yeah. Okay.
I guess. I don't know.
Oh, I got a bit. I got an update on the comic, and there's a little bit of a setback.
Yeah.
So I went. I minimized the order to 25 copies because there was a thing with the wrong format was chosen. So I was getting the price for like a different a different format size.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm not the one that was doing it. I was doing it through someone else. So like I didn't know all the steps involved. But so yeah, now we got we get down to the 32 page format, which is we needed, and 25 copies and that was the minimum of the money that I had gotten. So like, okay, well let's do that. So, but there was
Cool.
like two times that like they had to refund, and then waiting for the refund is like 3 days. So I'm still waiting for the refund again, so it can be submitted again and paid again. And but this time should stick. so,
Cool.
so yeah, so like all right. But I'm thinking like when it sells out, like when everything sells out, and hopefully it sells out quick, I'll just reinvest that money to do a second printing of
There you go.
another 25. Because what I wanted to do was I wanted to do more things and do some remarks and like give some extra copies away, and like, oh, I can't do that now. I need to
Nice.
sell them. so, yeah.
Very nice. I am, unfortunately, I'm not going to share it because, as people know who watch, I don't really share my work in progress drawings, but, or rarely. Sometimes I will on my Instagram, but not in the stream. But I am one page away from a big scene change, which I'm very excited about just to like mix up the drawing, because I've been like, for the past 10 pages or so, characters have been in the same room, and I've been drawing like the same kind of room and sort of scheme over and over and over. And it gets a little tedious. So I'm excited, like, okay, now finally we're going to mix it up a little bit. But it won't get tedious to read because, 10 pages you read pretty quick in a comic, but 10 pages to draw, that's for me 10 weeks. 10 weeks of drawing sort of the same background over and over and over. It gets a little old. That was a big struggle with D versus M97, where you have Jenny and the Cynthia characters in a cell, basically, like a holding cell, for pages and pages and pages. And boy, by the time I was done, I was so sick of drawing that cinder block wall in the background and like all that. So it's just like, I just want to draw anything at all else. So that's where I'm at. So what else is new with you? What went on this week?
Let's see.
Not to get too down. How far? I don't know Texas. How far are you from where that shooting was? I don't know where that is.
That's about 2.5 hours away uh, from where I am. So it's yeah,
Pretty
because
close.
that's in San Antonio, like right outside San Antonio. So yeah, when that happened like that, I was down for a few days because it was like just so close to home, even though like I wasn't
Oh, it's
there.
terrible. I am
Yeah,
too. Like there was a couple days before I could even talk about it.
yeah,
Even now, even still, I feel like I'm not totally ready to talk about it, just because it's
yeah,
so disgusting and awful and sad and
yeah. And I went
frustrating.
on Twitter and I'm just reading comments, and there's this creator like he just posted because he's a pastor, but he also makes comics, and he just posted, God is great. And I'm reading the comments, and there's one guy had to bring up Well, he wasn't so great yesterday, and then that ticked me off. I was
With
like,
that an
dude, what?
asterisk. Yeah, right. No,
And
I know.
I went off on it. Well, I told him like, well, where the heck were you? And then he's like commenting like, well, I'm in another country, and I'm glad I don't live in your cesspool. And he was already like deflecting and saying like, oh, don't hide behind your politics. I never mentioned any politics. I'm just like, dude, we're just
That's
having a
part of what's awful about it. And again, I don't want to get
yeah.
like let's talk about shootings and guns and all that, but like I what part of what's horrible about it is because I think trying to give a little bit of a break to some of these fucking assholes online is
Yeah.
like because it's so awful, I think for some people it brings out the worst in them. Like,
Yeah.
you know, where it really they don't know how to react to it, so they react just badly
Yeah.
and like not constructively, not sensitively, not thoughtfully. It's just like they get upset, and that's part of why I didn't want to talk about it for the first few days, because I know it's like I'm just gonna fucking go off, like
Yeah.
like I can't. I'm just overwhelmed by it, But there's
Yeah.
the internet is the place to go if you don't want measured, thoughtful conversation. You just want people just typing stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's like, well, that's the place. That's your destination.
Yeah.
Squatch,
Yeah.
you have no idea what you're talking about. This is the kind of stuff. This is why I'm going to make Frank a mod to boot you for stuff like this. Claiming that if I was focused, I could draw 10 pages in 10 days. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. I encourage you to go back and reread D versus M and tell me how I'm drawing those pages in a day. Unless I quit my day job. And even then, you'd have to hook me up with some meth. I don't even know what I would. This crazy talk. This is what I'm talking about. The internet for bad takes. Right here. This is a good example. Exhibit A. People just talking out their ass on the internet. Right there. Oh, I can. And in fact, that's kind of funnier to me. If I have always working Squatch and Squatch is banned, that's almost enough reason to do it.
Yeah. Well, didn't Kevin Smith kick out Jason Mewes for a while, and his likeness is on his store.
See?
A name.
There you go. There's a precedent.
Not that I want you booted, Squatch. I'm saying your argument doesn't hold water.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You need better takes, Squatch, if you want to stay in the chat. And this is the first time, I think, since the beginning of Always Working Squatch, where I am actually drawing right now.
Oh, okay.
Because it's sort of my digital pencil stage, so it's a little bit less fussy and less concentration, so I can pull that off. Usually I don't want to do this, but again, I don't want my only self-imposed requirement for participating in Fan Fusion was I can't get behind.
Yeah.
So this is, but I also didn't want to just skip a live stream for the week. So it's like, okay, well, I just need to find ways to get ahead. Though that brings me to something I've been thinking about. I have been thinking that I don't know if I will always be doing a weekly live stream.
Yeah.
I may eventually, only because I just don't, like, there's a lot of pages to draw for D versus M 1979. And like, I don't know if the world or I really needs always Workin Squatch number 47, always Workin Squatch number 38. Like, you know, like that's kind of unnecessary. So at some point I might transition to like an every other week kind of schedule. Just so it's not like too much. I don't know. We'll see. That's a little ways off if I do decide to do that, but
Yeah. And also there'll probably be times where like you probably won't even be able to stream because you're just working on it.
yeah, exactly. Like there's going to be where it's just like, or I just don't feel like I, you know, have anything really to talk about that week, um, or life happens, you know, I'm not feeling great and I just don't feel like doing it. Or if I do that, I'm going to be behind, where right now I manage it and it doesn't interfere with my ability to work. There might be weeks where it's like, you know what, this page is a monster and I need to focus and buckle down and see you guys next week. I don't know. We'll see. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've done that when I was coloring the comic. I was like, I could go like hang out on live streams and go like hang out with friends, or like it's gonna drag on the comic. Like, you know, I need to focus on this because I want to get it out at a certain time.
Yeah, the priority is, for me, like it's always been page a week. Like that's the most important metric to hit. And so I guess that's ultimately the thing. Like if there's ever a concern where I'm like, oh, I'm going to be behind, I don't know if I have time to do this, then for sure, like the easy cut is the live stream, you know? So for that particular week, I do intend to stick with the live stream. I would never say like the live stream is too much work and I'm not going to do it anymore. But there might be weeks where I'm like, not this week.
Yeah, that's good. And I've done it with the Tarako. Like we've been doing that recently. I think we just streamed, or it was just me, but me and Brandon Ingram. I think it was last Monday, and so and you know that went well.
Was
But
that
Anna
the
couldn't.
writer of what was the name of the comic again?
Gallows Man.
That's right, Gallows Man. Yes, he was on our casters.
Yeah, that's where I saw him, and he had reached out to me, and he had reached out to me earlier, but I didn't know who he was, and he had just, and I was like, who's this guy? Because he just like sent me a thing to his Kickstarter, but
Is this a
like
scam? Yeah.
like he added me and I added him, and like, oh, you know, comics, this made comics, like, okay, and then he just like sends me the Kickstarter. I didn't tell him this. Like, if he's watching this, he's like funny note that I saw like, who is this guy? Why is he sending me
Yeah.
stuff? And then I see him on the Artcast.
That's right. What are you trying to sell me? Are you some Nigerian prince? What is this?
And I was I'm gonna go on a rant one of these days and talk about like people would just send me random stuff. Like, oh, never mind. Like,
Which,
it's
yeah.
actually legit.
Which I think I've hit that part of Instagram followers where I do get a fair amount of just garbage solicitation.
Yeah.
Just.
Oh my gosh, I've gone. Oh hey, what are you here for? I make comics. Like, where do you think? Like, I'm like, look at my profile.
Well, and weird.
Like Bitcoin scams.
Well, and like they want to do weird like endorsement things.
Yeah.
Like, hey, have you tried like whatever my weird coffee mushroom drink is? You know, if you like, we'll send you a free sample if you want. And it's like, do you even look at my page? Why? What does that have to do with? I don't know. Again, there are some downsides to trying to be a productive creator and having a day job. namely, like how much time you can devote to your creating. Like, page a week. Like, if I did not have a day job, if somehow like D versus M made enough money where I could just do that full time, I could easily do 2 pages a week. Like that would be like probably my rate. But the pro of having a day job, in addition to being able to pay your rent and groceries, is when people approach you and say, I have a weird thing I need help selling. Can I send you one so you can talk about it on your comic? I can say block. What are you talking about? Leave me alone.
Oh yeah, so he turned out to be a cool dude, so I had him on.
Yeah, he seems cool.
It was once I started talking to him because I saw part of the Artcasters, and then I kind of like tuned out because Jeff Lafferty was on at the same time.
Yeah.
So
So
I
you
only
would know
go,
this.
and then I
I feel
rewatched
like
it.
it's been alluded to in um, maybe Artcasters conversations. What is the whole history of Lafferty and Artcasters, and like, wasn't there some shared origin or something? What was?
Yeah, so because I think the Artcasters or the Artcast, it's there's like different versions of it, and
Okay.
there was one that Peter Palmiotti had started, or he was in the like very first version of it,
Mm-hmm.
and Jeff Lafferty was there. I think Kevin Cross, and then I guess Peter, because I don't know how long he did it. I only know that he was in the first one. Probably had to like step out for some reason, so it was Kevin and Jeff, and then they brought on Scott, and then so I think it was like Jeff had it for like
Scott Circland?
yeah, Scott Strickland. So
Okay.
Jeff had it for a while. He might have been the one that started with Peter. I'm not sure who started what, but I know like Jeff like has on his version he has the original art cast. So
Oh, so
so
just
so it so it came from, and then like him and Kevin I guess like left, and then Scott brought in Josh around that time. I think they came in around that time, and then like and then eventually Corey. So yeah, so I think everyone just kind of like intercrossed. Like someone brought someone. Yeah, I think Josh was on like in Jeff's version for a while also, and and this they kind of just rotated up. So yeah, so Jeff was part of like the original iteration, and I think even that version, the Artcasters. So but he calls his show the Artcast, and he calls his Facebook group the Artcasters. So there's like two Artcasters.
so. And I understand if you want to defer because it's an uncomfortable conversation. Is there any kind of weird like tension there, or is it
No, no.
okay? All right, okay. I
Jeff
wasn't
just likes
sure.
to joke around though. Like
Well, that sometimes I can't tell. Like, is this a joke or is there actually like a little bit of like, I can't believe they're calling it Artcasters? Like like this is my thing or this was my thing. Like I couldn't tell. Like, is there any of that or is it like no? It doesn't.
not as far as I know. I know he jokes around, and like sometimes he can go off on a rant, but it's nothing to do with the guys. Like it's
Yeah.
just
Okay.
yeah. But he would joke. He would say like it was my show, but he was joking, and he'll talk about Josh and Scott, and they'll be there in the chat. Like, hey guys, you wanna come on? And like, oh, so like it's not.
Yeah. Got it.
know he had Adam Lore was in the chats like recent, like maybe like last month, and then he just asked him, so Adam, do you still like Josh? Because it sounds like you guys hate each other.
Yeah, that's what's funny. I've noticed now, is this a coincidence? You follow this stuff more closely. I kind of
Yeah.
am in my own little world. I've just noticed perhaps a little bit less Adam Lore in Josh's stuff. Is that coincidence, or was there like did one of those debates finally was that finally enough, or what happened? Am I imagining things?
I'm going from what Adam has said publicly
Okay.
that he loves Josh and
Mm-hmm.
he's his friend.
Yes.
But I also know from just a couple of videos that he had for a while, some of the stuff like because Adam believes in some like something different than Josh.
Yeah.
So I guess in one of those debates, it kind of came off as Josh was attacking his, and he just kind of like
Right.
just wanted to talk and not debate,
Right.
like not prove. Oh, this is why I believe this. Just like, oh yeah, this is I believe in this, and not give definite proof and evidence.
Right. I do know, yes, I am aware that Adam has some unconventional beliefs.
And that's good. Now, I get along with Adam fine. I know he's busy doing some things, so I'll reach out once in a while and see how he is. But I I don't know. He might just like stay away for a little bit just to, and that's just my speculation, just to kind of like
Well, or maybe it's
give
a
give some,
scheduling.
yeah,
Like the way it is now, it seemed like at first Josh was pretty much on every evening. Like you
yeah,
just sort of knew. Where now it's kind of like it's you can't really. It's just sort of randomly. So maybe they're just sort of missing each other. But
yeah. I think that might just be it as well. I know he was like working on getting the second issue out, so I don't know
Adam
if
was.
like yeah of Toad Road.
Yeah.
So I don't know if like he's just like working on that.
Yeah.
What is this I'm covering? Oh, that's it. Also, you saw like some of my posts recently on Facebook where I was talking about the 50 backgrounds. Now I was telling you about some of them. That
Uh,
Anna had done this. Anna had done this. Had challenged me personally to work on my backgrounds and to do like 50 thumbnail backgrounds. So I did those, and then from those,
I think I
pick
must have missed
10.
that off. Is this which this is Facebook you said?
Yeah, I've been posted on Facebook, and I think I even mentioned because I think I sent you one of one of them that reminded me of your logo, the dinosaur skull.
I do remember. Yeah, maybe I think the algorithm might be screwing you. I don't think I saw. I'll go and look after this, and like I missed some of those. Yeah.
Because I reposted some recently because I think it was last week I worked on the 50 thumbnail sketches like backgrounds.
Yeah.
The or that was the week before, and last week I worked on picking 10 and coloring them and as concept art. Now I'm working on picking 5 of those of my like the ones I like the most and redoing if I need to and just like adding more like more of a complete illustration. So like, and there are some that I kind of like how they turn up, but just like a little tweaks. So uh, so yeah, so I've been posting those, and one of them that I like how it came out because I had a background, a middle ground, and a foreground. I was like, oh cool, I haven't really done that. But in the foreground, I have a Spinosaurus, uh, and it's It's the baby Spinosaurus from Mass Women's Journal.
From what?
The comic, the Mass Women's Field Journal.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I just kind of aged them up a little bit, and so I have them in the song. So that's what I'm working on now. I'm looking how it's coming out.
Cool.
I made it more like an alligator-ish, but with a cell.
Are you? Let me. Were you?
So
I'm sorry. Did you show it? I was
no,
looking at
no.
my. I only have one window up at a time, so I didn't see. Yeah. Oh, cool. It's looking good.
So yeah, so that's what I'm working on. Someone gave me a critique that the cell was too large. Like I just made it a bit smaller because I said it's a juvenile spinal. So I was like, oh wait, it wouldn't have a full cell. Like okay, hold on, let me change just a little bit,
Oh, cool.
just a hair, but yeah.
It's fun. Which that reminds me. If there are dinosaur fans, we got a new guest popping in. But real quickly, there are dinosaur fans out there watching. You need to be watching Prehistoric Planet on Apple TV. It's amazing. It's
Ooh.
all I ever wanted. When I first saw Jurassic Park, I was like, I want like a nature show showing dinosaurs, like real plausible dinosaurs doing real animal stuff. With like CG effects like this. That's what I want to see. And that's finally what they did. It's like 5 episodes. I haven't finished it yet. I think I'm two episodes in.
What's it called?
Prehistoric Planet on Apple TV. And I think Apple TV, it's a subscription thing. It's like $5 a month, but there's like a free trial. The first week is free. So while, look, there's a lot of subscriptions out there. People spend a lot of money. Sign up for the trial, burn through Prehistoric Planet, and cancel for free. There you go. And you get a great dinosaur show. So anyway, welcome, Mr. Lujan.
Oh,
Look
it's
at you.
Jim.
I heard there's.
Uh-oh, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Can you
no.
hear me, Jim?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I can.
Wow, that's
hear
weird. It's usually
Yeah.
the opposite.
that is
I
weird.
mean, we're just going to have to fake it.
Okay.
You just have to
I
type
did an
everything.
interview like that
So I
once.
can't
Go
hear
ahead.
you guys at all.
Okay.
Nothing. I can
Wait.
see you.
Wait.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, wait, hold on.
Pop out and try. Oh, I was going to suggest that. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to pop out and try again. Here I go.
All right.
Early on when we were doing the before it was the Tropical Cravecast, it was I can't believe it's not the Artcast.
Yes, I remember.
So we had a guy on that was a TikTok creator, and he did stuff with candy. So his audio or something happened where he couldn't hear me, but he could hear Anna, and I
Mhm.
could hear him, but he just couldn't hear me. So for the rest of the interview, I'm trying to conduct the interview, and Anna, can you ask him to this? Or I'll be typing and
Yeah, typing in, posting it. Yeah.
yeah, like Anna, we need to end the show, and she's like, oh, okay, Anna, we need to end the show.
Yeah.
It's just like
It's a high production value.
Yeah.
Right there.
Awesome.
Cord Kerr points out that you could watch Ted Lasso during your Apple TV trial. I've heard it's great. I've not seen it, but everyone talks about it like it's great. So that's another thing you could do. But boy, you got to watch a lot in that week trial. Like you got to really stuff in some TV watching. But $5 a month isn't bad. I don't know what else is on Apple TV. I don't know if it's worth. I don't know. But
do you need to have an Apple product?
I know I'm doing it through I think any streaming device where you can add, like I do it through my Xbox. Like I think pretty much it's like Netflix or anything else. Like if you've got something that
Okay.
allows that, you can add Apple TV.
Oh, okay.
I figure if you can do it on an Xbox, like a Microsoft Xbox, you should be able to do it on anything.
On my
Good if you
Atari.
like optimism. Yeah, I mean, boy, we could all probably use a dose of it, right?
Okay.
I'm waiting. I am actually not working because I'm waiting to see Jim pop up in the thing again to let him in, rather. Because if I go back to drawing, I won't see him there, and then he'll just sit. Wait, private chat. What is this? Hola. Oh,
I
there's.
saw it said Ola, but I don't know if that's from earlier.
I think it's from earlier. He's probably trying to get my attention. I think Jim might have exciting announcements when he's on.
Ooh.
A little bird told
Is
me.
he having a baby?
A little bird named Jim Lujan.
Oh.
Let me, while we're waiting, I'm going to find...
Well, Corey's in the chat.
Yeah, Corey, so too. I'm going to find links to Scott Lost and Keith Foster and the Making Art podcast, which I will add later, but I'll put them in the comments so people can support these guys. They did me a solid by letting me hop in yesterday or Saturday.
So I guess you made table because you kind of split it, right?
Yeah, well, it was great. I gave him some beers and bought him dinner, and that was so yeah. So no, I made money, which was great. Okay. Here is Scott Lost's Instagram. You don't need all that. I should have removed the question mark HL here. I'm going to do that again so it's clean. Not that it really matters, but.
Scott Lost. Okay.
Great guy, interesting guy. I really do want to get. I was talking to our Scott Circland about it.
Yeah.
I think Keith and Scott would be great guests for the Artcasters. I want to make that happen. Let's see here. And now.
Is he one of those that was photobombing your picture?
Yes, he's the one. Yeah, that's Scott back there. Keith Foster. And I'll give like a brief explanation of each after I get those stuff posted. There we go. All right. Here's Keith Foster's website.
Has Keith Harper been on the Artcasters?
I don't know. Has he? I saw he ordered some D versus M's. I got or I think it was. Yeah, if I remember right, I got a.
Yeah, he said he was
one of the latest shipment. I got to drop in the mail. Anyway, Making Comics, which is their podcast, which I'll find a link for that as well. The pitch is making comics from two different perspectives. Let me find.
Okay, so is it like from the artist perspective and then the
yeah, Scott is predominantly an artist. He is also like he's a concept guy. He's got a lot. He's come up with a lot of the stories for his comics, but he's not. He's not doing the explicit writing. Keith is a writer. Doesn't do any drawing. Now, none of that is absolute. Keith is doing a little bit. Scott's doing a little bit of writing, but basically, it's a writer and an artist talking about comics. Okay. Making comics, their process, answering questions, talking about, that comic life. I'm going to drop a link to the podcast in here. I enjoy it. It's a new episode every Monday. My Monday tradition is to download the latest episode of Making Comics. I find it a lot of fun to listen to. Oh, we got a Jim Lujan back. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You sound beautiful.
You know,
I hear you.
do you know what my Monday tradition is?
No.
Feeding the poor.
Now I feel terrible.
Sorry, it's just that's just a collateral damage. Sorry.
Because my Tuesday tradition is to slow roll by them when I see them on the side of the road and just roll down the window and do a Simpsons Nelson like ha ha and then peel out right away. You know?
My Thursday tradition is to steal from the poor. So
I see. So I heard a certain animator has finished his latest project. Is that true? That's the rumor. That's the rumor out there. And I might have even watched it. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I might have even seen a version of a certain animator's next project.
wait, are you talking about me?
I am.
My
Surprise.
Yes, thank you. It's done. Sugar Machine. My latest film was done, and that's actually why I'm logging on right now, Gary, to tell you thank you for participating in it. And your name is now officially going to be Mickey Dazzo.
It's I have to say, is a lot of, first of all, just my part is totally set aside. I loved it. I hope everybody knows, like, you should be excited about this. And like I told you, and this isn't false praise or whatever, like I think it's my favorite one yet. It has no competition because there's a few others I really like, but like I really had a lot of fun watching this one. And I don't have a big enough part to say it's just because it was me. It was I think you did a great new addition to the Luhanaverse or whatever you're calling it.
I was just telling Leanne yesterday, I mean, take it with a grain of salt, but the reaction to everybody that's seen it, from everybody that's seen it so far, has been better than I expected.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I knew people wouldn't like it, but yeah, people are really saying people are talking, and they're saying
people are talking.
No, but I'm hearing good things. Thank you.
Good. So when is the official release for the public?
So right now it's on Patreon, on my Patreon, as a thank you to my patrons.
Yes.
And I sent it to everybody that's in the film. But the official, like when it's on YouTube, I guess the YouTube premiere is June 6th.
Okay.
And every time I say that, that really means June 5th at like 10:30 at night.
Yeah, because is it like a weird East Coast thing?
Well, it's more of a impatient West Coast thing that I go, oh, before I go to bed, I'm just going to post it. Yeah.
How can you do that though? I would be sitting there supposed to be sleeping, but instead I'd be refreshing to look at views or something. Like why?
No. I'm really good. I'm a flawed human being, but one of the flaws I don't have is that I don't I don't go look at like what are comments saying? What is everybody thinking? I think it's because the way my brain works, I'm constantly thinking of the next thing. I'm already thinking of the next thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's hard to go like, that's one thing I have to slow my roll. Like I have to promote things that I put out.
Yeah.
Because the way the life cycle works is this. This is very interesting, Gary. I'm going to tell you this first time I've ever
I'm glad you're bringing
fully shared this.
We've talked about this off air before, like it's always like, okay, after I finish this one, we both have the same problem. We're like, now I'm going to really promote and try and get it out there. And instead I just immediately pivot to like writing the next thing. And
Frank, I need you to be a legal witness to this and please document all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the way it works is this. Many different ways. Inspiration strikes. Could be I see something. Could be something somebody says. Could be a word. Could be I watch a movie and go, oh, I'd like to make a movie in that genre or whatever. There's a million different ways. But the idea comes to me. And I'll usually jot it down in a sketchbook or notebook and just write a couple of notes or whatever just to save it or put it on my phone. And then I forget it. I just put it aside, and then I live my life, and then go back to that idea about 3 years later and go, oh yeah, this one right now is perfect. Like this is kismet that this came to me. That's right. This idea, I remember this one. Now I want to do this. And then I do the idea. I get about 85% done with the entire project. And then I start going, like, when you're getting gassed at the end of the project, I start looking at the next project and going, oh, but wouldn't it be cool to work on that one right now? That would be that's the one I want to work on right now. And but I got to finish this. And then I finish it. And that's where immediately, instead of going, well, time to promote this one, I go, no, but I'm excited about this one. I want to go to this one now. That's the usual cycle. Within that cycle, there's a giant caveat, which is once in a while, once every 4 projects or so, maybe every 5 projects, an idea will just come to me out of nowhere. Like it was a brand new idea, and it wasn't a title I had or anything. It's just out of the blue. And that happens once in a while, but that's usually not the norm. The norm is for me to go back to my sketchbook and start looking through old ideas and go, oh yeah, or one I've had in the back of my mind. Sugar Machine, exactly. Sugar Machine, I think I came up with the title probably 5 years ago, and we recorded a theme song for it 5 years ago with no movie, and then I shelved it and I did All That Glitters, Lars Lazarus, Pleasure Beast, Infinity Pool. I did all these other films. Actually, yeah, it was about that time. Anyways, and then I went back to it and I George Lucased it. I took my old ideas and added a lot of CGI to it. So here I am. Okay. So that's the cycle. So Frank, can you read that back to me?
Yes, exactly.
All right. So sugar, honey, you're my candy girls.
That's how I remember. It's a candy.
Frank reads it back to me. He goes, okay, here's what I got. Hey, Frank. That's it.
Something about Captain Goggles.
So, he just shows me a drawing of Captain Goggles.
Yeah.
Here's what I got.
Yeah, this is it, right? That's what you said.
So, Frank, did I have a Frank cameo in this one? I don't know if I did, but I'm going to put a Frank cameo in the next one. I promise you.
Well, and I wanted to say, no pressure at all, and I would not be hurt, but I enjoyed working on Sugar Machine, and I'd be delighted to have, if there's a good role for a Gary Hodges in the next one, I'd be happy to help again. So
awesome, always. I had a blast. I really did have a blast. It was your stuff was your scenes for me were like a shot in the arm, because it was like they kind of like spur these other things happening, and they're just really concentrated, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun doing Mickey Dazzo's scene. Might have to one day do a Mickey Dazzo short cartoon.
Oh my, yeah, that would be exciting. Yeah.
So Gary, one last thing to complete the Jim Lujan hour of talking about myself.
No, please.
But I'm publicly saying this. This is the most hypocritical statement I will make, because just watch in a year from now, 9 months from now, 6 months from now, I'll have this long 23-minute movie done, and I will just have countered what I'm going to say right now. But I think I really want to do like 3 or 4 like 10-minute cartoons coming up, like shorter ones.
Okay.
And that's
I've heard this before.
That's
I'm already like, all right, sure.
So when I don't fulfill that, and I have another giant, 20-minute movie, then I could say, well, Jim, you called it. You know yourself. But I would like to, and I have some ideas for some, but I don't know. They're so much fun to do right now, those longer movies. So
yeah. Oh, I don't know. It's interesting. This one I'm working on, I don't know. Is this bringing it back to myself? I'm trying to think more of being a good conversationalist, but I intended with 79 was going to be my short one. It was going to be like, it was actually kind of going to be like a normal comic length, like maybe 20 pages, 25 pages, something like that. And then as I started fleshing out the story and really deciding like what I wanted to do with it, and then feeling like, at least in my case, like, well, this is part of a 6-issue arc. Like I can't, I got to start covering ground. We're we're approaching the halfway point. It ballooned up to being not as short, like longer than 75, not as long as 97, but longer than 75. Like, so I'm trying to make peace with the possibility that I am not a short comic guy. And it hurts. I don't love it, but maybe that's just the reality of the situation.
I picture Gary in like a group therapy section, and he's saying this like his tears are coming out his eyes.
Yeah.
And people are going like, dude, my family just died. Why are you here?
This is Anon. Why? Like, what? This is a grief counseling. Yeah.
So let me ask you guys this: what is? And actually, I put this out here for the chat as well. What is the cutoff for being a long short comic or a short graphic novel? And is it 1 page difference usually, or what? Let's talk about this.
I think I have trouble defining what is a graphic novel versus a comic.
I'd say if it's over 50 pages or more, it's a graphic novel. If you have you could have a 49-page short comic.
Okay, but see, here's the problem.
Okay.
Let's say I've got some floppies. Let's say I have 4 floppies and I compile them into a trade. Is that now magically it's become a graphic novel?
That has always been my question. Because
Yes.
if you compile them into a trade, is that now a graphic novel?
Yes.
So,
And I say
it
no.
is. Or something. I don't know.
I say, look at you guys. You don't have a dog in this game, if that's a saying. You don't have a dog in this race because I'm not a comic book collector, so I'm the outside public telling you this.
Right.
So I say yes, it is.
So
It's just but now the question is what kind of graphic novel is it? It's a graphic novel collection more. But it is. If it's 4 different stories and you put them together like that, is it a graphic novel? Yes, but it's not a graphic novel that's with a theme. You know what I mean? It's more like a collection. But it's a novel, but it's just or it's a trade paperback. I guess that's a better word, right? But if it's one story, because you know why I say that? Because I've done that. Remember, All That Glitters and Lars Lazarus were both series, and then I just compile them to movies. But I put connective tissue and things, So I made sure it's like one big story. So yes, thank you for that, Gary.
Yeah, no problem. I disagree, but the problem is I can't disagree in a meaningful way because I haven't figured out how to articulate. But to me, no, you can have 450 pages of floppies. It's still not a graphic novel. But I couldn't tell you what a graphic novel is. And I think arguably, like, could there be a 25-page graphic novel? Maybe.
No, in my book, no. Unless the pages are like 6 feet by 6 feet. Yeah. But,
so also size matters, is what you're saying.
Okay, there you go. Hey, speaking of wonderful quotes to post up there, Corey Kerr says, I like that I was a trailer park in this one. And he is. So I named a trailer park after Gary.
I didn't notice. I got to show. I got to go look and see. Re-show the animation.
So this is not a graphic novel.
That's not a graphic novel.
Okay.
I mean, you can call it that, but it's like, really, was the public gonna, like I could say, I'm a professional. I'm a professional dancer. I can say that, but it's my paychecks that I get from Dancing with the Stars that confirm it.
See, there's no consensus here. Chase feels like over 150 pages is a graphic novel.
I agree.
Below 50 pages is a comic book. So what if it's 75 pages? What if it's in between? It could be either one.
It's a graphic novel. It's a short graphic novel.
See, I
think even 100
Chase
or
left the middle range of like a liminal. It's like a Schrodinger's graphic novel comic. It's like we don't know what it is.
It's a weak ass graphic novel. That's the official term.
Squatch wants to hire you to make an animation, probably giving, calling Fu a furry and giving me shit. Like,
so I don't do commissions anymore or hired work. The reason is because I don't even have enough time to do my work, and I'm super, super, super rich already.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
can say from private conversations with Jim, all he talks about is his fabulous wealth and how he just all the time he's just like, I don't need this. I don't need this shit. Like,
first you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the
comics.
Classy. Look at that kitty. I think that kitty likes being on TV.
Hey, say hey with that.
Is there a distinction? Is the distinction between graphic novel and floppy more about full story arc versus partial, or is this a distinction? Or is this distinction a stupid thing to discuss because there's no meaning? Well, I think at least in terms of common usage, to me, graphic novel versus comic is a little bit like indie versus not, where it's like no one has ever agreed what these terms mean, so they are kind of meaningless.
Right, I agree.
Everyone's using it individually, like their personal definition. There's no like agreed upon definition.
I didn't even really listen to what Corey said. I just agreed because he said it, and Corey's usually right.
Yeah.
But by the way, all my feelings on these books, the length of these books and things like that, 100% could be wrong. Like I could prove myself wrong.
I don't think there's a right or wrong because again, no one's agreed on the vocabulary. So it's like that's how you think of it. What you see, and this is, to me, I mean, this is probably closest graphic novel or comic books. Like, I do kind of see as like this is like a parallelogram versus rhombus conversation, where it's like they're all comic books. Graphic novel is a type of comic book, but I don't know.
Well, I think the whole term
like a graphic novel.
The whole term of graphic novel came from when comic artists or creators wanted to take it a little bit more or wanted people to take it more seriously because it was like, oh yeah, I make comics, like okay, you write kids books, like, oh, I do a graphic novel, and that sounds more adult, more like refined.
Yes, and I agree with that, and I also agree with what Aaron's saying here, like graphic novels more adult theme as subject matter. I think there's something about a graphic novel that's more meaty. Like if you compiled a bunch of issues of Squirrel Girl, like it might be great. You might have a lot of fun reading it. I would struggle to call it a graphic novel.
Yeah, I get it. But okay. So I guess there is the third option, trade paperback, which is I mean, it's a collection, right?
Yeah.
But if the Squirrel Girl thing was all one story, and if maybe you took the covers out and had a cover gallery at the end and had it all connected as one story, I could say that's I would say that would be a graphic novel.
Yeah. See, this is what's weird. This becomes like is cereal soup.
My friend, Dave Eisner nominated friend, Dave Baker, he hates the term graphic novel. But then I would always tease him and ask him, "Hey, how's your graphic novel going?" But he hates that term. I remember he just for some reason just sat wrong with him. I like the term graphic novel. I think it's
I don't mind. I mean, I don't even remember who it was. I had a conversation with someone who was like, they didn't like that I kept pitching D versus M as comics. They're like, yours are more graphic novels. And I was fine, but I don't know. There's something for me, and this is a whole nother level. Like, I feel pretentious if I describe them as graphic novels. Like, I'm more comfortable pitching them as comics, even though I know that might be creating a weird picture in their head. If I say I'm doing a comic, they might be picturing Squirrel Girl, and like, but I don't like saying graphic novel because I feel like flipping my scarf over my shoulder, like I don't know, it just feels weird. So.
I think when you collect all your stories together and you put some in between material, you some fluff. I think it'll be officially a graphic novel. Yeah. But I don't know. I ultimately too, it's really it like who was it that said it's all AGM Studio says it's. MD says it's all sequential art. True. It's like film. What's a short film?
Right.
Graphic novels like pornography. I can't define it, but I know it when I see it. And I see it all the time. That's a graphic novel. That's a novel,
I think.
Extremely graphic novel.
Yeah, it is. You know, I
Woo!
struggle talking about your movies, like
Listen
how to
to these
define them,
guys.
because I don't want to
Do
call
you?
them a cartoon. It's not a cartoon. And like animated film is a mouthful to me because there's no film involved in your, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I'm a little too literal about it, where it's like, well, no one's making films here.
I know,
Like,
I know. I always write animated film because, and I love the term cartoon. In fact, I hashtag everything I do, make cartoons,
yeah.
because I want
No
people to make
excuses.
cartoons.
So
Yeah,
you're a
there
little
you
bit
go.
like me, like, you know, I'm calling you because I'm a comic. You're calling your work a cartoon, and
Yeah, I don't really.
little reductive,
Doesn't matter.
arguably, but yeah, it's
I
Yeah,
just
it
call my
doesn't. It
stuff
doesn't bother me.
fantastic.
Yeah, I call it.
Call it amazing.
I call it a masterpiece. That's what I call it.
yeah.
No, it doesn't bother me at all. I have no feelings towards, like, if somebody calls it a cartoon or a film or whatever. I don't take it real like it's film. It is cinema. I call it cinema animation. You know.
You guys, have you heard the was it Rob Schneider on SNL, who was the copy guy?
Mhm.
Like, yeah.
I think so,
Have you
yeah.
heard his story about Steven Seagal? He like he apparently was on a set where Steven Seagal was, or I don't know if they were in the same movie or what, but he went to meet with Steven Seagal. He had this giant trailer on the set, and he was let in by the assistant. He's like, "You can wait here for Mr. Seagal." And so he's sitting and waiting on this couch in the trailer. And eventually Steven Seagal appears and he goes, I just finished reading the greatest script I've ever read in my life. And Rob Schneider's like, wow, who wrote it? He's like, I did. It made me think of that with like our self-aggrandizing. Like when people ask me, what is Deeper Sim? It's like, it's the greatest comic I've ever read in my life.
The Sugar Machine is probably the latest film that I've made. For sure.
It's for sure the latest.
It is for sure the most current film I've ever made.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'd say it's probably the latest film I've ever made. For sure.
Yeah. I think
It's
that's
late.
beautiful.
So, but let's talk a little bit about Mickey Dazzo, please.
All right.
Where's your inspiration for that? Where'd that come from? And who is he?
You helped me find, the director helped me find Mickey Dazzo. You like, I'm blanking on the actor's name right now because I'm in kind of drawing mode.
It was Harry Dean Stanton.
Harry Dean Stanton, who I'm a big fan of. So I think, so just here's the behind the scenes Mickey Dazzo. Originally you said like you picturing kind of a Jersey guy.
Yeah.
With like kind of that Jersey kind of swagger to him. And I went down that rabbit hole a little bit of like how to do a Jersey accent. I'm not really an accent guy. So I was like, how do you do a Jersey accent? And I was like, I can't do this. I can't manage this at all. And I was just about to tell you, like, I think I was telling you, like, every time I try to do this, it comes out a little country because I'm from the West. So like, it's not working. And you were like, I was just thinking like, and then you threw out Harry Dean Stanton. I was like, that I think I can do something with that. This kind of like very throaty, kind of airy, like almost like a breathy, like tired voice a little bit, like it's almost, I started practicing as like, let all the air out of your lungs, go, 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 go. And now, you know, when there's not a lot left, you know, and like, it's like, that's maybe where I'm going with this. And I watched some Harry Dean Stanton, and he always is the same in every movie. He never tries to do any kind of like big thing. One of my favorite movies of all time. It's a little bit of a controversial choice, but Last Temptation of Christ, he's in that. I watched his scene in that. He's got a great scene in it.
He's in that.
He is Paul.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Is he like, does he have a cigarette? I'm like, oh, Jesus.
Not one. That's probably the only role he's ever done where he's not smoking.
Are you sure?
He's Paul, like, who, you know, from the road to Damascus, and he's out there like evangelizing, and he has a really great part that kind of sums up in a lot of ways one of the big themes of the movie. It's a great, so I watched that a bunch of times and would sit and kind of like, I would, you know, he would say things and I would try and repeat it a little bit. I wasn't trying to do him, but just to get that kind of like that kind of thing he does. And then
here's a little trivia fact about Last Temptation of Christ. Did you know that it was written by Steven Seagal?
Oh.
I did. Not a lot of people.
Was that the script?
That was the script he had just finished writing. Yeah. He's uncredited in the final. If you go and watch the movie, he doesn't come up in the credits. But,
Yeah.
And then I had some from my hipster days tucked in a little nostalgia box. I had a pack of clove cigarettes.
Oh, no,
So
Gary.
I always put one on my lip just to have a little bit, because he always has, the way you showed me the drawings, he always has a cigarette on his lip.
Yeah.
So I wanted a little bit of that kind of, like, you can tell there's something in his mouth. But
So he's also a lawyer. So Gary got a law degree.
I did. I went to law school.
Just for research.
Yeah, I actually legally changed my name to Mickey Dazzo.
Gary, I just sent you a screen capture of Mickey Dazzo. If you want to show people what it looks like.
At my Facebook or
on the Messenger, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we're getting into some serious self-promotion here, and I need visuals.
Yeah.
So you nailed it. It's one of my favorite. Really, he comes out twice in the movie. Really, one of my favorite parts. One of my favorite characters to animate and draw and everything. And it was a joy. Thank you, Gary, for doing it. You did a great job.
Oh,
so.
Thank you. That's very nice. Yeah. It was really fun to do, and I'm glad it seemed to work. I watched the movie and was not distracted by my performance, which was the low bar I had, where I was like, oh, I'm stinking up this whole thing. Like, no, it was I blended in, I thought. And that's
we also had they're playing golf and they're having a conversation, and they're talking about this judge, that Danny Fingerman, the lead, he's the lawyer in it, has an appointment later on with this judge, and they're talking about him, blah, blah, blah. Then there was a whole conversation that went off that I didn't end up using about Mickey's wife, and how Danny was talking about whatever happened to that one, that one chick, and then he says, yeah, I think I was going to hook up with that. And he's like, that's my wife, but I cut that. I cut it just because the scene flows better without it. But I also cut it because I thought, well, it kind of makes the lead, Danny Fingerman, look like kind of like a jerk, like he's the bad guy.
Yeah. So I did remember, I was like, oh, we didn't use that, but that was,
yeah. Oh, he had a tantrum, but
yeah, I did flip out. There was that day where I said some things in anger. But
Gary threw a vodka bottle at me, and I had my finger on the counter, and it smashed, and it cut the tip of my finger off.
That's exactly.
I'm probably going to sue him.
No dispute what happened. There's no confusion.
I'm going to sue him.
Gone to the jury, right? That's like that's over.
So my film is a very timely film. It deals with the legal system. Speaking of Johnny and Amber. Oh, by the way,
is there any slapping in it?
No, but there's a weatherman on television in this film, in Sugar Machine. His name's Johnny Amber. Just by coincidence, right?
Here, I'm finally getting organized here. Let's see. Share screen, share window.
Where did Johnny Fingerman first come on? Because I remember you drawing him on an Instagram once.
Danny Fingerman is.
Danny.
You know what? That's a really good question, because was that before or after? I think he was first appeared in All That Glitters.
Okay.
And when it was a series I was doing on YouTube, he was a lawyer that was defending his client was Naughty Boy Swanson. And then I think when I did the Instagram drawing was probably after that or around that time. But
I think it was during the time of Lars Lazarus, so I think you were like in between.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna hit up maybe like Ryan Gosling to play him in a film. I think I'm gonna send him a DM and get that started, because I think he'd do a really good job.
I'm gonna have to rewatch, because I feel like I was noticing I was noticing the wall art in scenes, and I think I saw your fan art of the Hulk from the Dan Ickes appearance someplace, and when I noticed that, I was like, now I want to see, like, if I want to go and rewatch again and see what's all.
That is a super fan observation, Gary. You just played yourself right there. Now I know where I have you.
Yeah.
Right here.
Right.
Wow, I didn't even remember that. I just was looking for artwork to put on the wall in the scene, and I was scrolling through my artwork. And I was like, "Oh, the Hulk!"
Right. Yeah.
The Hulk actually comes out 2 or 3 times in this film.
Really?
Yes, I challenge on June 6th. I challenge everybody to go on YouTube and find where the Hulk comes. Yeah, for sure. Three spots in this film.
Interesting. See, yeah, so I definitely have to rewatch. And then
And on
I missed the
Does
trailer.
the Turaco Cola make an appearance or not?
Yes, it does. It does. It's in the trailer scene. So that's going to be in films from here on out. Turaco Cola.
You have to trademark that.
I know. you
Make
get money.
Start a company.
You'll get money every time.
Enjoy the trailer park scene, and I could tell from just the word go from the establishing shot of the trailer park. This is a man who knows what a trailer park looks like. Because there's a quality to them. And like, this is very true to life. I have to admit, I had never seen one until when I was freelancing. I took a job as a census taker for the 2010 census. And
okay, for one, they're called mobile homes. Okay.
Yeah, I suppose they are.
And yes, I've been in many a mobile home in my lifetime.
Yes, and that was the first time I spent about a week walking back and forth through a mobile home park taking census stuff.
My grandmother used to live in a mobile home park in La Habra, California.
Mm-hmm.
And I swear to God, their mobile homes are nicer than our houses. Like, they were so nice. It was like it was a senior park, but it was really nice. Like, she had
I've never seen that version.
She had a little fountain outside.
Yeah, I've seen the version that the whole place smells like a cat litter box.
Yes.
And you're kind of scared.
I think the classic trailer park house would have carpeting in the bathroom. I think that would be a sign.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's a safe bet.
Let's take a survey. Carpeting in the bathroom, yay or nay?
Nay.
Nay. Okay.
Big nay. Easy nay. I don't want carpeting anywhere in the house. Like, personally, a rug like back here, that's fine, but no fixed carpet.
Well, Gary said he wanted dirt floors in his house because he wanted it au natural, but I thought that was a little bit too much.
I try to get back to nature.
But you really are anti-carpeting?
Yes. Yeah.
I like that tight carpet, that tight office carpet.
I mean, I don't mind it, but if I have a choice, like, I would just assume not have it and do rugs, like area rugs where you want them, just because. But again, like, I'm a lifelong cat owner, and there's a lot of advantages.
Catholic. I'm a lifelong Catholic.
So is it fair to say, Gary?
I'm an anti. Yeah, no, no, it's a cat owner thing. Part of it is cats. When they have to barf a hairball, they are just magic at going to wherever part of the house has carpet and then barf there. Like,
so would it be fair, Gary, to say when it comes to the kitty, you're not into the carpet, you like the hardwood, smooth floors? Is this what you're telling me? Because just answer the question, Mr. Hodges. Yes or no?
I don't like hairless kitties.
Your Honor, speculation. Your Honor, leading the witness.
Objection.
I'm not afraid.
Gary, I didn't really mean for you.
Cat with hair.
Gary, stop. I don't want you to answer that. It was a joke. You're going to incriminate yourself. Your Honor, can we strike that from the record, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. That was not the question. Not the question.
Just sweat pouring from Gary report right now.
I appreciate that.
And I won't bring up the Harry Potter story anymore either. So.
I'm glad I got a chance to tell it, but
I'm sorry, that's the best story ever.
We'll put this back just to.
Okay. Oh, there you go. I'm gonna get a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really good. So back to graphic novels.
Yes.
How graphic do you like your novels?
I'm a grown up. I'm fine with graphic.
The best thing about two stories, besides the full frontal nudity, is I think it's probably the spaceships. I thought those were really good, really well done.
It was an odd choice, but yeah, it was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So Josh one time told me, there's 2 stories, Jim. Story of my fist hitting your face and the story of you hitting the ground.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little aggressive from Josh.
I think that's something we probably all have in common here on this stream is we've all been threatened by Josh.
And after he knocks you, Josh knocks you out, he stands over and he goes, now who's Joshin? Like that. And that's his catchphrase.
Which is awkward, but since you're trying to avoid a beating, you don't want to say like that's not funny. That doesn't make sense. But and like you just kind of just like, yeah, you're right, sir. You're right, sir.
A lot of people don't know this too. Josh originally played Chachi on Happy Days for 2 seasons. His character's name was Chachi, and he wore a bandana around his leg. Yeah, there you go. Look at that.
Right there.
That guy. By the way,
I remember. That's actually fun trivia fact. That's actually the composite sketch that I did with the police after the first time Josh beat me up. I said, well, it kind of looked like he had kind of a beard, and that's what they came up with. And
so this is coming from somebody whose avatar on YouTube, the little drawing I use, looks like a murderer. That picture of Josh looks very intimidating. Like, he looks very serious.
It does.
Very like I wouldn't want to, if I was in the desert
I was thinking it too.
And I ran into that guy, I'd be instantly like that dude.
Easy.
But Josh, I would be that way with Josh too, the real Josh. Like because
you can tell he's a bruiser. You can tell he just fights for fun. Like just
and sport.
Of Indiana Jones earlier.
Look at that.
Indiana Josh.
That is, I think Josh got that drawing from an acid tab. I'm pretty sure he copied that.
Which he sold me before he beat me up. That's weird.
Well, a lot of people don't know this, but if you buy 2 stories, which you should go to Amazon right now and buy 2 stories, it comes with a page of acid tabs.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
Yeah.
By the way, I guess since we're talking Josh, we should say Jacob's Apartment, I think, is out in like 2 weeks, a week, something like that. Like I saw that it's early June.
It comes out in June.
Yeah. So
can I tell you it's fantastic? Can I tell you?
I have not read it.
You read it, right?
I did. I read it. It's really, really good. I mean, I felt bad when I told Josh, it's your favorite one of my your stories that you've done when it's not his latest one.
I know.
I didn't mean that in that way, but it's just so good. I really do like it. I think it's really.
It's like I think you said it's like the best one he's done.
Oh, I said you topped yourself.
That would be a worse compliment. Favorite is fine because favorite is like I responded to.
Yeah.
But saying like this is your best work ever, like
You've
that
done
it. Something like that.
You've reached the summit. It's all downhill.
Keep doing what you're doing. Like that.
Right. And anything you'll ever do. There's no way you'll top this. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Just say the worst.
I've gotten that reaction from showing some old art. Like that's your best one yet, Frank. I did this when I was 18.
We should sit one of these days. We should design the worst compliment you can imagine.
That's usually me. That's usually me. Yeah, I usually look back at like if I watch these old episodes and go, "Wow, what's wrong with me?" And then I make a list. Yeah, everybody does that though to me. So.
I avoid it. I never compliment anybody on their work. I just, they show me their thing and I look at it and I do it. You see this at the con. It reminded me, Phoenix Comic Con. You'll get this. Like they'll be looking at your thing.
Yeah.
Well, good luck. And then they walk away. There's some of that.
I only have to give 3 responses when people show me their work. One of them is, huh. That's one. The other one is, the other one is really, and then the nice one, the third one is, well, you tried.
Yeah.
Those are my goodness, that is one of my pet peeves because I'll show my art, like current stuff, and like, hey, keep at it.
Good for you, just doing that thing you're doing.
Frank, I was trying to be nice when I said that, Frank. Come on.
This is Corey was ahead of it before we got here, but this was a good one.
Out of all the comics I've ever read, yes.
It's definitely a comic. Yeah.
Oh, I did want to ask Corey. I think it's late, but did you ever get the stickers I sent you, Corey?
If he's still there, looks like he might still there. We have some viewers. He might be out there somewhere.
Or did the restraining order kick in?
Corey says, I'm reading his response right now. He says, yes, but I thought they were acid tabs and I ate them all because I do hallucinogenics and I'm a drug crazed fiend. He spelled friend.
I think he's okay just talking about this, but because of all his physical injuries from his adventuring, he's pivoted to the internal adventuring of psychedelics. This is what he was explaining to me in a long conversation the other day.
I think Corey's a cyborg, and I think you become what you hate. And I think he became a cyborg.
He is the algorithm embodied. He is like, that's what's happened.
I like Corey's
algorithm.
I like algorithm. That's a good one. I like Corey's disclaimer right there. It's like legal disclaimer. I did not eat them. Do not recommend. With his little legal stamp. Yeah.
Do not eat Frank's comics.
Yeah. Now we've talked about everyone except for Scott Serkland.
Okay, let's talk about Scott.
That guy, Scott. Okay, there. That's all I got.
Yeah, there. Now we got everybody. Check them all off.
I'm going to brag about this forever, but how many of you have had breakfast with Scott Serkland?
Not
in bed?
Look at you.
In bed. Yes, in bed.
See? He beat you.
So he goes like that, and I go like that.
Yes.
Yes.
Served to him while he's wearing a fluffy robe. It was just wonderful.
It's just like, so let's just say getting circed is
Oh.
all right.
There's one of the ones that like if Anna sees it, it's like, why did you say that?
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm sorry. By the way, if Anna sees this, I'm sorry for everything Frank said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Frank's trying. He's trying.
Trying.
He's
trying, buddy.
keeping at it. He's keeping at it.
trying.
Up to the plate. Doesn't matter if you strike out. You stepped up to the plate.
So everything you've done, I've seen that you've done. It's practice, right? Okay. All right. That's a good compliment, right?
I say about my own stuff, and someone told me stop saying it's practice because it kind of diminishes it. Like, all right,
Frank, my own nephew, told me when he saw Revengeance, he said, it's really good, Uncle Jimmy. It's like your cartoons, only real. And that's why I don't have a nephew anymore. So, the end.
Yeah.
So
He went camping in the desert and never came back.
he went camping with Josh in the desert, and we've never seen him.
Never again. Yeah,
Never again.
That's one of the best things about having Josh as a friend is if you ever need to get rid of anybody, you just he can take care of it, no questions asked.
The other best thing about having Josh as a friend is if you need to hide a murder weapon, he's there for you.
He will provide the weapon and then take it back to get rid of it.
I mean, sometimes you have to stop him from actually committing the crime.
Yeah.
Like, I got this.
Yeah, it's fine. It's
crazy.
Fine. She just mispronounced my name at Starbucks. You don't have to. No.
Yes, Josh. And can I have the cup back, Josh? You don't need that.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's Josh, though. That's Josh for you.
Josh, we all know.
That's our Josh.
So back to graphic novels.
Yes.
All right.
Are they really novel, or are they just graphic? Discuss.
Wow.
Try
Are
to
you
tie
a
it together.
novelist if you make a graphic novel?
Yes. Next question.
What does the ratio have to be? How many? So let's say you write a book. How much illustration do you need where now it's become sequential art?
Well, under California law, it's 14:2.
No.
But they never actually explained which is the art and which is the text.
Which is the two. Yeah.
So I don't know. Plus, I can't read, so I don't really think it's fair for me to talk about this.
Yeah.
So, but it makes for interesting writing. So.
So do tell. Okay, so you're already thinking about the next project.
Kind of. I mean, nothing serious. Just kind of
And you
mulling
always
some.
struggle.
Kind of knowing where I want to go, like the feel of it, like what I don't want to do, and what I do want to do, and but no commitments yet. I definitely have to put this one out and just see what happens, see what
Try
I
to
can.
promote a little bit. Try and but if you had to do an over under, when do you think you won't be able to resist anymore, and you're going to start chipping away at the next one? A month, 6 months, 2 weeks?
Probably
What?
like June 11th.
Got it. All right. Okay.
Probably like around there.
Yeah.
No, honestly,
One
probably.
good solid week of promo, and then on the next one.
Okay, with the last one I did before this one, Pleasure Beast, I told myself, I told myself, I'm gonna give myself 1 month of promo. No, don't even look at starting a project. Completely focus for 1 month on trying to get on podcasts, trying to promote and everything. And I did, and I got on like 4 podcasts, I think, that month. But it was killing me. Like, I really wanted to start another project. Yeah, it was. I didn't. Okay, this is a horrible term for this. I don't know another term, but there's a natural refractory.
Please don't use the N-word, please.
Natural
I asked you not to say it.
refractal period.
Oh, I see. Yes, refractory period.
Yes, there's a natural refractory period where
it's longer as you get older, man.
After you've spent yourself with the project, you're just laying there and you're like, and then the audience goes, hey, you want to go again? And you're like, baby, just give me a little time, baby. Just a little time.
Give me a second.
And then you just work on getting that other project going. Right. And before you know it, takes about 9 months later, you got a brand new project out there for everybody to see.
Yeah.
So honestly, really, I'd say probably like a month. I'll be working on something new.
That seems like a good. I mean, obviously, long, as you would agree, longer would probably be better. But a month is respectable. Yeah, I don't know.
Again, I'm part of me is flying blind with these because I don't really know. Like, I'm not making this for like, I'm making this for this television station or to put on Amazon directly, like I have in the past.
Yeah.
But on the other side of the coin, I am actually having a really good time, and I feel. Bottom line is, I feel. Okay, you just messed up you just coughed right when I was going to make the best point. What are we talking about now?
I don't know. Totally lost.
God. Desert. Beating Josh in the desert was no. But I'm having a really good time making these films, and I feel really happy after they're done and when they're out. So I kind of got like the end game is happiness, I guess, right now. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it. So and like with the last one that I did, some good stuff happened behind the scenes after I did that last one. So hopefully some more good stuff will happen with this one. And by good stuff, I mean millions of dollars. Right. Millions. Right. But I don't know. But I just want to be, you just want to be happy creating something.
Did you get any patrons?
I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. And that's the other thing too. It's part of it is I don't want to be a shill, like, hey, join Patreon and try to get people, like I think the people that join my Patreon are people that just genuinely want to support for whatever, like we just believe in your work, we'll support for whatever amount. Yeah. So when I do put stuff out early, like this film is over a week and a half early before the rest of the world gets to see it, I really do put stuff on Patreon as a thank you. And also as an exclusive, like I'll put music up there that I don't really post anywhere else, or making of stuff. Probably half of the stuff, I'm guessing, that goes on my Patreon, I don't even end up ever putting on Instagram or anything. A lot of it I do, kind of crosses over, but But yeah, at the end of the day, it's not the goal. Like, I don't want it to be the goal to just try to get patrons. Like, hey, I'm doing this and if you join now, you'll get this. I know that's like kind of the model of Patreon.
Right.
But it's, to me, it's just a byproduct. It's like a cool thing to support, because I support other artists for the same reason. The artists I support, I don't go, well, I'm supporting him because he's giving me this and this and this.
Right.
I support them because I believe in them. And it's just, a buck or two is, it's not that much. It's like, but
I feel bad for unsubscribing some of them.
I know, it's okay. Actually, you're costing me money, Frank. So I don't know how you did it, but money's coming out of my account
every time you do the math.
Every time, yeah. So that's crazy. But I think it's a good thing. Really, honestly, if there was like a if the tip jar idea really took off, that would actually be a bit as good or better thing in a way.
You mean like on
like YouTube, if people could click a button and go, tip jar, which I'm sure there's something like that. But I'm saying if it was in the public consciousness more, like if everybody, like if you tell somebody in the public not PayPal, what's it called when you raise money? Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So if you go to somebody in the public and go, hey, I'm starting a Kickstarter, most people will know what you mean. Like, oh, I know what Kickstarter is.
Right.
If you go to most of the people and go to, hey, YouTube, did you know that with, I don't know, Cybercoin, the tip jar, have you ever heard it? They'll be like, I don't even know what you're talking. You can give people money on YouTube. Like, it's not in the public conscious yet. So if it was.
It's not. And in fact, I don't even know. Like,
I don't know. I don't know if you can.
Is that like an option for any YouTube, or is it?
I have no idea. I'm a YouTube person, and I don't
know
even
there's the super chats.
Right. And how does that?
Certain...
Like, can we all be doing that? Or is that like, do you need a certain subscriber count, or do you
need a certain subscriber count? I think what I do is I have a copy account, and so I'll just tell people, like, if you want to donate to what I do, you can tip. But I don't always do it. But when I do it more often, I do get some tips. So.
Yeah,
they say stop begging for money.
Like where you are, like for when I think 100%, anytime you tell someone to go to a link, like the number of people who you're engaging right then who will do it is minus, like it's never going to be 100. Like as soon as it's like, you're lucky I'm here, man. Like I'm not going to go and now, dig up some other thing. So that's kind of why I wanted to do like sell my comics on YouTube. Like have that ability, because it's like I know like it's kind of a little bit of an ask to say like, now go here, now follow me here, now
Here's the part of the program where I make Gary furious with this comment.
If you want to tip me,
look at that.
Frank, I want you to really let's zoom in on Gary's expression when I tell him this, because it's going to change right now.
See if I can.
This is going to be.
Here we go.
Gary, you need to sell your comics digitally.
We can screenshot that.
That's right. I need my Halloween mask, by the way.
Yeah, just.
I really hope somebody screenshotted that.
Yeah, you should have. Well, the replay will be on. You can.
Yes. You need to sell your comics digitally. That's.
Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, look, I'm not going to rule out anything someday. But no.
Gary's son, we're concerned about you. And
you want to know,
we really need you to
sell your comics. You need some direction, maybe?
Yeah. Hey,
Have
champ.
you considered the manager position at Mervin's?
Hey, champ, do you want to talk? You need to sell your comics digitally, and that's that. I mean, Gary, your comics, the ones that, okay, put it to you this way. Every single person that has a physical copy of your comic will still get those physical copies 100%. Right. Nobody that owns a copy of DVSM will be like, oh, now the digital, well, who needs paper? Like, they want the paper copies, the people. But you'll quadruple your audience all over the world. There'll be a kid in Bangladesh on his iPad because he made the iPad.
Right.
He will.
He will. Test one he built.
He will be looking at DVSM. You'll have kids
Yeah.
in
And then he will take that, and to make ends meet, just save as, and then resell it himself.
You know what? Are you saying you don't want this kid to make a living? Is that what you're saying? You really are anti-poverty.
That's exactly what. That's the only reason I'm against digital. Is like, there's no way poor kids in third world countries are making any money off this.
Squatch.
No way.
Squatch.
Not on my watch.
Squatch. Hashtag Gary hates poor.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Anyways, tell me more. Tell me more. Why you don't want to sell digitally? Because I would love to have the entire collection on my iPad.
Sure.
I would love to be able to be out and
I'll hook you up because I have them as PDFs. Because I have a PDF version for reviews. Like sometimes when someone is like, "Hey, can you send me one to review?" I'll just email them.
So I mean, really, think about it. I don't think people. I know in our artist's heart, we think people are gonna pirate our stuff.
That's really not it. Honestly,
no?
I was joking about that. I think that's extremely
okay.
Not concern for me. It honestly is, and it's funny. I was having a similar conversation about this with the guys at Phoenix Fan Fusion. I was talking about how I don't do prints anymore, and the main reason, part of it is I think the market has sort of moved away from prints. Like I just feel like they don't sell as well as they used to. But mostly, if I'm being honest, it's because I don't buy prints anymore. Because my wall space is filled. I have no room for it. It's just going to be in a cardboard tube in my closet, and I'm over it. And because I'm not into it, because I don't believe in it. Like it's hard for me to participate in it. It's kind of the same with digital comics. I don't love reading digital comics. If there's no other option, I will do that. Like if someone is kickstarting their digital comic, if it's only available digital, if this is the way they're doing it, absolutely I'll read it.
Okay.
If there is a print option, 100%. And I can tell you 100% of the time I've done a Kickstarter where you're backing a book and they'll send out the digital, but like in advance of sending out the print, I take that digital and immediately move it to trash. I don't give a shit because I know a print's coming and that's how I want to experience it. And that is my hang up, where it's like, I just don't love that experience. And there is a lot of design and craft with the page turns in D versus M's that is like, I haven't thought about how it presents digitally. And because I put this effort into how it presents physically, like just all those things together, it's like, nah, I don't want to do that.
Okay, Mr. Lujan, are we ready for your rebuttal? Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Hodges, you testified that you no longer buy prints at shows anymore. Is this correct?
Correct.
And you don't buy these prints because you said that you don't like to have a physical copy in your hands. Is this correct, Mr. Hodges?
No, that is incorrect.
Mr. Hodges, if we recall, can we read his testimony back, please?
Please do. I would be happy to clarify, Counselor. No, I do not have the wall.
Right.
I do not have the wall space anymore.
Oh my God.
So, Mr. Hodges, you would say that wall space, is that akin to an area of space to store an item on a wall?
Let me tell you something. I can find this much room for a book. I can find room for that. I can't find room for like a 12 by 18 another print. Like I just can't do it anymore. And so like I've been dragging my feet, hanging my pictures. I have piles of framed stuff here.
Mr. Hodges, which is thinner, a print or a comic book that is 30 plus pages?
I can shelve.
Mr. Hodges, just answer the question, yes or no, please.
A print. Like I'm objecting to the premise of the question, Your Honor.
Bailiff. Please pepper spray Mr. Hodges, bailiff.
Please hold him in contempt for being non-responsive.
Gary, I think I triggered something with this courtroom thing, by the way, because I think this has actually happened to you in a courtroom.
I know. No, I have.
Wow.
No, actually,
Oh my God.
This is harsher questioning than I've actually experienced when on the stand, which I have done. Which, by the way, we've talked about this off air. Like the biggest painful thing about the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing is like how poorly prepared these witnesses are. Where they're just like, it's like, who prepared them? Like short, crisp, clean answers. What the hell are you guys doing? Especially
know.
Depp. He was the worst offender.
Well,
Like every question was a 15-minute answer.
And this is like, well, I don't buy the prints because, of course, I suppose there's a print on a wall.
I wish I had sunglasses to put on right now.
It's on a wall, but
So I was
sort of.
talking.
Yeah, it was. But one day you'll come around. Maybe when the entire series is out, you'll come around and do a digital. And hey, I get it, champ. I'm not trying to replace your dad. I'm just trying to. I just want me and you to be buddies. That's all.
Right. Yeah.
So, one day digital. Just give it a try. You might like it.
Mm-hmm.
You might make some friends, Gary. So.
I'm just hold on just 1 second here.
You're wiping tears away. I could see it. You can't hide from the camera.
That got me right here. Let's see here. There you go.
What do people think, by the way? They are two different experiences.
They are two different experiences, and I think that's also it's like I haven't. This sounds silly. It sounds like semantic. A lot of people, they're not hung up on this. I've never made a digital comic. I make print comics. I'm designing and writing and drawing print comics. I feel like if I was going to be open to that, it's like we're going to release both formats. I would actually think about that from the word go. Like I would be thinking about and it might be no significant difference, but I know I'd be thinking about it differently.
Corey just said, sorry, I left and came back. Gary is hysterical. Are we telling him to sell prints? No, yes. Digital.
There's a little bit of peer pressure to offer Diversem digitally, and I've not changed my position on it.
The mental part I do get though. I do get because I've had people tell me about my own process. Namely Corey.
Yeah.
Oh, he's triggered me.
Yeah.
But ultimately though, I did acquiesce to Corey's rightful suggestions of doing like not thumbnails but storyboards or animatic.
Okay.
An animatic. We did an animatic.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. So he was right, and it hurt, Gary. It hurt. Fighting a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm never gonna just cross a line through the possibility. Like I don't know, but I just know that is absolutely not interesting to me today. Like
Your Honor, I'd like to publish 32B into evidence if we could. Oh, I don't have any slides. Sorry, I'm not prepared.
Okay. This I would be open to. This actually I think is a more likely near future possibility. Where like if you buy a print, maybe I'll have like a code in there or something where you can,
I like that.
And go and download. Kind of like if you buy an album, you get like the MP3 version. You can download or vinyl. Like I would maybe do something like that because it is important to me that people experience it as the print version first. It's kind of like, and this is again, it's not an exactly analogous situation, but I get it. Where it's like Christopher Nolan saying like, I don't want you watching my movies on a fucking phone. Like you need to see it in the theater. After that, whatever you want to do.
Christopher Nolan said that to you?
He said it to me directly.
Did you slap him in the face? Say, don't talk to me like that.
Breakfast in bed, and he said, like, this is how I started to load up Tenet on my phone.
Did you tell him? You say no, Nolan, and then you just backhand him? Because I think that's kind of rude, personally, but
yeah,
I get it. I know.
I would be open to.
So
open to that. But in terms of offering the digital for sale, I think that's very unlikely.
A long time ago, when you and I first started talking, we had this conversation before I was afraid to hurt your feelings. We did. You made a really good point. I mean, you said that it's really important to you. You want to present the book in a certain experience and a certain way of reading it, like old school. I get it. And maybe when everything's more complete, then maybe you put the whole series out as a PDF.
Maybe. Some of it is also like with the design of it, the pacing. Like they're books that I intend, And I've never been the kind of creator who's going to go on. It's like, this is how you consume a diverse system.
Yeah.
Like with like all the requirements, other than the physical requirement, that's an innate thing, but like in terms of beyond that. But I do picture when it's like, what's the ideal? How would I like people who just bought it to read it?
Mm-hmm.
I would like them to get all their shit done for the day, start the dishwasher, be all done, sit down and have some uninterrupted time to sit and read as if you're reading a novel.
Yeah.
Like, don't read this in a coffee shop. Don't this isn't it. I want this to be sort of a slow experience where you're going to go and have, really kind of submit yourself to it.
Have you thought about doing it in like Sunday Funny format?
Panel by panel? No. And I remember when I did 75, I forgot who was telling me to do this when I was working on it. It might have been the guy, it might have been the Steam Crow guy. I don't remember, but someone was like, release, like every time you finish a page, release it online as a webcomic, kind of like the 2 stories model.
Yeah. Yeah.
You like the webcomic thing and at the end, then release the print. And I couldn't do that because I was like, this isn't paced
I get it.
Not read for a week.
Yeah. It's like a movie. Your stuff's not like a series. It's more like a movie and it's scenes.
It's I can't break it up that way. It's not gonna work. And
it would work. It would work differently, but it wouldn't get the intended effect that you want to get.
Right.
But it would work. I mean,
something would happen there. Ultimately, it's just the words and the pictures. But
like if one day you get syphilis and you can't make these anymore, and you hand the collection over to me again, if it reoccurs.
Yeah,
and I'm in charge of
of syphilis. Yes.
I'm in charge of your entire catalog, and I put it out a little bit at a time. Yeah. It would be a challenge because, like, you're right. It's like it couldn't be the same. It couldn't be the same amount of panels every week because you have reveals and you have tension that you build up. It would be a huge challenge because 1 week, one strip would be 3 panels, and then the next week it'd be like 18.
Right. Yeah, it would be really hard to do. And it's like this isn't a good part of the elephant story.
Yeah.
You kind of have to and that's also where it's like, this is sort of that's why it's like my ideal experience is like, make yourself some tea or a beer and sit in a chair and read for a little while. Like, that's a hard thing to if the kid's showing up every 5 minutes saying like, Daddy, come wipe me, this isn't going to work. That's not how I want you.
Gary, I told you not to reveal the name of my Sunday Funny.
I'm sorry. Exclusive, guys. Jim Lujan's next animated film, Daddy, come wipe me. But I want a nickel every time you say that.
Worst name for a child's doll, by the way. Daddy, come wipe me.
But that's not the experience I want. Now, obviously, I have no control. Once it's in their hands, I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to chop. They might cut it up with scissors and decoupage a stool with it. Like, I don't know. But, I have control over to the point where it's handed off. And I have control over whether I'm handing off a digital comic or a print one, and I'm handing off a print one. So, I don't know.
Decoupage a stool? That's gross.
What kind of pervert decoupages a stool?
I thought I was the only one into that one.
I know. No,
it's so crazy.
Jim, you and I are so much alike. I was making the same joke in my mind, but I was like, I'm not gonna say anything.
I'm your mouthpiece. The only difference is I have no filter. So
I'm working on my filter as well. So I'm like, I should probably just record.
The live stream makes me work on my filter, seriously, because the last thing I need is Gary Hodges in his live stream said, I don't know.
Okay, so for my last thing I'm going to say, because I really do have to go, but I just want to say the most important thing that we have to say, that we have to leave this message is, and if you could pull this up on the screen, is that today's stream is brought to you by Corey is always right.
Where is that? Let's see here.
If you want to get digital comics, you can go to my Gumroad. I sell my stuff. I don't care.
There we go.
That's right.
Corey, I think I like the idea of, and I'm very open to the idea of providing digital copies to print owners.
And yes, doing an animatic is a smarter idea for doing an animated film when you're collaborating.
And you are probably correct that social media has ruined my self-esteem and made
Yes,
me
I should pay Anna.
Yes, and it was the women's right to vote was the that whole thing.
You're correct that Trump is the best president we've ever had.
Yes, and then the legal age should be lowered for consent.
True that the meth that Josh sells is not as good as your meth.
Yeah, so
you gotta pay for quality.
Get his meth out of your mouth and put my meth in your mouth.
The perfect time to get rid of your filter, Frank. Good job.
Yeah, perfect. Hop in.
All right, I'm gonna go, you guys.
Okay, I'm gonna probably wrap it up too. So,
all right, thank you.
This is probably the plan right here. Eventually, I right now drawing mode, can't think about it, but maybe for the third one, I will start that new precedent where any copies you buy, there'll be a PDF provided.
You heard it here, folks. He said it online. It has to legally. It has to happen now.
That's right. And in the meantime, since D versus M79 being done is a little ways off, if you are an owner of a physical copy, like Corey, and you have had moments where you're like, I wish I could reread D versus M on the toilet without the print copy handy to wipe with. I reach out to me. I will hook you up with a PDF. But in terms of formally going forward, everyone who buys one gets a digital. Maybe sometime next year.
Send mine.
Okay.
Send mine now.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Don't forget, guys. My new film, Daddy Come Wipe Me, is coming out in the summer of 2022.
It's gonna be great. I'm excited for it.
I'll see you guys later.
Seriously, follow Jim on Patreon. Follow him on YouTube. Be excited.
Follow him at his house.
At my house.
Follow him around town. Ask him questions about his exercise routine.
Will you wipe me, Jim? Ask him that.
Ask him.
Jim, come wipe me.
When he's at a coffee shop, when he's at a restaurant, walk out with your pants by your ankle, give a little shimmy out, and say, Jim,
come wipe me. And I'll go like this, look at the camera.
Excuse me, guys. Excuse me. Duty calls. Duty.
Get it? Get it? Duty calls. I like that. That's
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I'm here all night.
All right.
Okay. See you guys next week. Thanks for dropping by. It was good to see you guys. And talk to you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.